Koon Seng Road, with its rows of colourful shop houses, is a huge hit with locals and tourists alike. These Peranakan houses are not only aesthetically pleasing, but are also rich in symbolism. The animal carvings on the exterior represent the 12 Chinese zodiac animals, while the floral tiles symbolize fertility and prosperity. Originating from England, authentic tiles can be identified by fine crack lines at the back. Today, each piece can easily cost more than $50. Some even steal these precious tiles from old tombstones in Malaysia. The line ornaments outside houses act as stone guardians against evil spirits. Looking at the exterior, one might think these houses are tiny. But there's more than meets the eye, for though narrow, these houses are long and deep. Taxes at that time were paid according to the width of the house rather than the total area. This sort of smart design is also seen in their air vents, minimal windows, and shorter heights of their day doors, the pintu pagar, which all allow for air ventilation while retaining the privacy of the house.
When rainwater comes in, rain actually is a blessing, right? So when it flows into the house, they do the drainage such that it doesn't drain out of the house. So then the wealth is actually retained in the house and it's not being lost.
My name's Mark Davidson. I'm British and I have been living in this house since October last year. We were looking for it to be traditional style, modernised and within budget.
Actually, when I first moved here, was right in the middle of the Juchat sleaze, so there was quite a cohesive neighbourhood sort of committee, and there was people, we joined in various meetings and petitioning the MP and all sorts of things. So I know Mrs. Tan that you spoke to along the road. I think she's sort of a mainstay of the neighbourhood.
She's being, like the perfect neighbour. You see the big frangipani plant that's just next door. It actually drops a lot of flowers and leaves. What she does is that she sweeps it, in the mornings, and she goes sweep, this way down and that way up. So she does it, just on her own, without anyone requesting, without asking for anything in return. But, she does the community a lot of good.
6点半的时候，有学生走过，怕学生跌倒，就从这边绕到脚头去，给他们容易走，就这样哦，当作 exercise。
My mom was very close with Mrs. Tan, number 17. They both treat each other like sisters. So whenever there's a possible time, they will cook and then they share among their foods during weekends especially.
我们老一辈的很好，以前阿叔11号那个，他现在是装修了，他来每次做乜嘢啊？冇做嘢過嚟飲茶啦，他就過來了，我們就聊飲茶，就去後面種花咯，拿椅子那凳子後面坐聊天咯，他也種一點，我也種一點，在後面聊天。现在没有啦，阿叔不在了。新辈按摩的我们有聊，可是现在新辈的不大跟老人家聊的，因为为什么？我们不会讲英语，他们要讲英语。看到有啦 ，Hello how are you 我就说you very busy today yes 可以了。现在这个19号的只有一次我煮什么给他，我忘记了。
Mrs. Peng next door brings me chicken rice every now and again, which is very nice.
啊，煮鸡饭，隔壁的都给有时候藕桂啦，有煮鸡饭啦，煮咖喱啦，有给，还是炒米粉啦。刚刚搬走的这个荷兰人又不一样，这两夫妇特别好，懂我们华人的风俗，他自己自动来过年，拿2粒柑来跟我们拜年，送一盆 orchid 来，这个就是人情的交往。
1950多年的时候了，有牛车，那么后面也是吗？后面全部是椰树、椰林啊。
Right next to Koon Seng Road is another mainstay of Joo Chiat, Tin Yang Restaurant. Established since 1968, it has witnessed the changes in the neighbourhood.
这咖啡店做几十年了，以前是那个老店，一间一间的，有杂货店、卡拉 OK、酒吧，通通有个别酒吧。现在呢改成了这个 shopping hotel 了。隔壁不是开了5、6次倒闭。
I don't think we had that many eateries along this road. Yeah, and maybe some newer business also like gyms or Pilates or they were not here previously.
路没有改，屋子有改。以前就是老鸭的店铺咯，现在改成这样美丽了。
这边是总共有20多间，4间没有换。我喜欢这样的，这种屋子很凉爽，高。我是有点古董的啦，我不会像年轻人这样。
We wouldn't have rented one that was old style, with minimal ACs and poor plumbing and less space. So we would have always picked one that had been redesigned or remodeled up to a more modern standard.
We can keep the outside appearance. For inside, we have to change to suit our lifestyle, see. Because as the world is moving, we also have to follow the world moving. We cannot stop or wait for the world to change to suit us.
Unfortunately, living in an old house has its fair share of problems.
Both this house and next door has a sort of plunge pool on the top level at the back. So I was quite concerned about leakage because we get a lot of damp problems. You know, it's very prescriptive about if you want to make a change to something outside, then it's very difficult. Whereas there doesn't seem to be a duty of care. So, for example, the house next door, in all the time I've lived here, it's been vacant. There's quite a lot of maintenance issues with it. You can see the front wall is subsiding, the drain pipe was broken. As long as they're not changing the facade, we can't ask them to take any care of it. So that's a little bit of a frustration.
Personally, I find that, something that the UK does is actually just amazing how they have, all this trust that actually takes over old buildings that, people cannot afford to pay the inheritance tax, and then they run the whole building. But what we're doing here, in Singapore, it tends to be, just the facade. Either that or, they're relocating things, or, they are just tearing things down in the name of progress and forgetting, our
you know, it might be better if the URA had more guidelines about actually preserving the whole of a property in a way that it's going to last for a considerable length of time, rather than just keep the front looking the same as it does and we don't really mind if the rest of the place falls down. I mean, it's a bit not a very balanced approach.
到你不在了，他们要怎么样就怎么样了，你不要再想到说，哦，你们一定要保留说不要，这个up他们了。
但是我也是希望他保留了，但是他们有些都不要啊，祖屋比较好啊。
有的时候，下一代的人啊，你不现在的年轻人啊，对做吃的啊，他都肮脏啊、油啊什么啦。下一代的人很难讲的啦，以前就可以说下一代可以讲。父母做吃的，他儿子接手嘛，现在人家都不要接手了，对不对？ 这边要赶吗？不会啦，我看不会赶掉的啦，保留的啦。这个是古董来的，你看它的椅子都古董，旧的东西它会政府会保留的。
I personally think that heritage is not about the architecture, it's about the lifestyles that is actually being passed on, you know, from one generation to another. It's like certain languages that you don't speak, but you know your ancestors may still be speaking. I mean, they would speak it, but you know somehow it's just not passed on to you.
When we stand inside the house, for example in the living room or in the kitchen, if you are able to imagine, you know, what are some of the conversations that took place, what are some of the things they've done, really bring history alive. So definitely this area is unique. It may not be that big an area. The buildings may not be so grand, magnificent, majestic, but definitely unique in its way, and we should try our best to preserve as much as we can.